Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kari and today I'm going to tell you all my 2024 favorites. This is the first favorites video in which I'm including books. I will start talking about the movies, then TV shows, and at the end, the books. I will leave in the description below the timestamp so you can skip in case you only want to know one of these categories. I won't say any spoilers, so don't worry about that. If you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe for more, and now we're going to start. So the first category is movies. I had a good year in movies. Now that I think about it, is the category that has more things. And I especially remember going to the movie theater for a lot of these, so that was good. The first movie that is my favorite is Challengers. I didn't think I was going to like a movie about tennis that much. I'm not a big fan of sports. I don't like watching sports, but this movie was so much more than that. It was so interesting. The actors were amazing for the roles. The drama was the main thing of the movie, not essentially the sport, but of course it is full of tennis. And I think the interactions between the characters, how they meet, how their relationships change throughout their lives, that's the most interesting thing. It was very dramatic and intense, and the last scene was amazing. I recommended this to some of my friends and I watched it in the movie theater twice. I really enjoyed it both times and I actually want to watch it again. It is very different from Call Me By Your Name because it is from the same director, but it has very different vibes. But the aesthetic is great in here. The next movie is Inside Out 2. This movie made me cry. I think a lot of people experienced that. I was one of those. I also went to watch it in the movie theater twice. And it was amazing. It was entertaining, deeper than the first one. The conflict was interesting and I really enjoyed the new emotions that they added. And even though it was my favorite for the year, I still don't think that it will be my favorite among other Pixar movies, but it is a good one for this year and I really enjoyed it. The next one I have to mention is X2, so the second movie of the first saga of X-Men. No, the second movie of the first trilogy of X-Men. Yeah, the whole trilogy basically, because I rewatched it, but X2 was the highlight of this trilogy. Amazing. The first one is an introduction, and then the third one I don't like very much, but X2, the best. And then I also want to mention Deadpool and Wolverine. That is why I rewatched X-Men, because I was going to watch Deadpool and Wolverine on cinemas, and I did, and it was an amazing experience. Although I'm not the biggest fan of the movie, but I still wanted to mention it, so it is an honorable mention, you can say, with X2. If you haven't rewatched the X-Men original trilogy in years, I recommend you do it because it is great. The next is Young Woman in the Sea. This movie was so good, so emotional. I watched it 3 times, I think. One with a friend, one on my own, one with my mom. I recommended it to my mom and she liked it. It is a very inspiring story. Also, I love the actress from Star Wars. I think she's amazing and she was brilliant here. I really love the story, her character. It is very inspiring for everyone, but especially for women. This is also about sports because it's about swimming and swimming competitions, but here they don't show a lot of that. It's more about coming of age in her life than about the swimming, but in the end, yeah, there's a lot of swimming and it's amazing. And it is crazy to me that it is real, that this actually happened and people keep on doing it, because it is mind-blowing for me. It's something that I could never imagine myself doing. The ending is so rewarding, so I really recommend this movie. The next one is It's What's Inside. This is a great comedy and mystery and thriller and also sci-fi because it has a lot of elements. The reason why I watched this movie was because Alicia was in it and I love Lexa and I just love seeing her on the screen. But honestly, this was a great choice. It is very fun to watch with friends. I kind of forced one of my friends to watch it, but she enjoyed it, I think. Maybe you will guess the plot twist at the end, or maybe you won't. It is rewarding even if you saw it coming. The characters and the dynamics between them are interesting because you see a lot of envy, jealousy, desire. It's a group of friends, but it's very weird how they interact with each other. I just think it is a peculiar movie, and from a lot of thrillers that Netflix has, this one is a good one because not a lot are good, but this one is. The next one is The Substance. My sister encouraged me to watch this movie, but I have to say that I didn't watch this in the movie theater. I watched it at home and it was a great experience, honestly. It is disturbing, but the message is amazing. I would watch it again just because of that. And a lot of people said that, from my family or what I've heard, is that they didn't like the last part of the movie, like the last act. And for me, it was good. That doesn't mean that it's something that I love to see on my TV, but I honestly thought that that was the right ending for the story. Honestly, for me, it felt right that that was the way that it ended. Both actresses were amazing. I couldn't watch one part because I have issues with that, and I know a lot of people said that it was a lot of body horror for them. For me, it was not too much except that part. You can also see it on the posters, and I don't think it's the worst part of body horror in the whole movie, but for me that is the worst part. That's the part that I cannot watch. Other than that, it was amazing. The plot, just the idea of what you can do with the substance, it was great. I really enjoyed this. The next movie is Wicked. This is probably my favorite movie of the year. I went to watch it in the movie theater 3 times. I enjoyed it every single time. I watched it in the original version in English. I watched it in the Spanish version for Latin America. Everything was amazing. I just love it so much. And I'm a big fan of the book. I actually have a review of the book on my channel. I love the book and I know that it's different. I still haven't seen the Broadway show, but now I'm very excited to see it. And of course, I'm very excited for part 2. Honestly, Elphaba is one of the best characters in my opinion since I read the book, and here I loved her so much. I think Cynthia Erivo was the best choice for Elphaba now that I saw it. I was kind of doubtful if I was going to like Ariana Grande as Glinda, but I loved her too. Everything was so perfect and their dynamic was amazing. I'm very excited for part 2. I think it's going to be heartbreaking. But this one was also kind of heartbreaking and inspiring, and honestly the music was great. Not all the songs are kind of my go-to songs to listen to or to sing to, but Defying Gravity, the whole last act of the movie was perfect. I truly cannot say anything else. I love this movie so much. And then the last movie is not actually a movie, it's a documentary, and that's the Getting Lost documentary. I am a big Lost fan and I got to watch this with my sister. She's also a big Lost fan, so it was very special for us. I cried. Not all the actors were in the documentary, which is very sad, but a lot of them were, and it was amazing to see them, to hear them remember their time filming Lost, the impact, and it was just perfect. I don't think it's a documentary that I will rewatch a lot, honestly, but this was perfect for the time it came out, celebrating 20 years. It was amazing. I truly enjoyed it. So this year was not good for me for TV shows. I rewatched a lot, and most of the new TV shows that I watched, I didn't like. So yeah, starting with the first one. This one is one that I truly enjoyed, that it was new, and that I read the book before watching the show, so I had the full experience. This is Dark Matter. It is on Apple TV. It has 1 season and it has been renewed for a second one, which I don't know what's gonna happen because this first season is the first book. The only book. So I don't know what's gonna happen, honestly. But I have high hopes because this was amazing. They expanded the universe of the book, they added characters, the changes they made were great. So comparing it with the book, I think I liked the TV show better. Also, the actors for the characters were great. Some of the things that I didn't like or that were kind of slow in the book, here they were great. They changed things for the better. I enjoyed this a lot. It's a great sci-fi story about what if I didn't make this choice or I took a different path for my life. So it's very interesting to see. There's a lot of action and tension, and the sci-fi element is great. Then the next show that I loved is Harry Potter Wizards of Baking. Also, I have to say I'm not a big fan of reality TV shows, but this one was great. And I think it has to do because it was about Harry Potter and I love Harry Potter, but it was truly entertaining. I was always waiting to see all the creations because they were amazing. The challenges were great, very creative. Every single one of the couples that were working together were amazing. And I am happy with the last choice and how it ended, who were the winners, honestly. Also, the guest stars were amazing. and it is really a fun time. I had to wait week after week because I watched it as it was coming out, but now you can binge watch it, and I think that's also a great experience. And last, for the TV shows, I have Squid Game Season 2. I think I liked it as much as the first season. Honestly, I didn't think that was going to happen because ever since I finished Season 1, I thought they could not make a story as impactful and good as the first season, and I think they actually did it. There's only one complaint that I have, but I won't say it because some of you might think it's a spoiler, but honestly all the season was great, very entertaining, addictive. It is addictive. You want to keep watching, and that I think is the best accomplishment for this show. It was #1 on Netflix when it came out, and yet again it's just everywhere. Everyone is watching it. If you don't like violence, maybe this is not for you because it has a lot of violence, but also it has a big message on humanity and society and classism and the big difference between rich and poor people, which I think is amazing to explore. Truly something that everyone needs to watch. Just in case you're not watching, this is worth a watch. And then this is an honorable mention because I don't have more on this category, but this is a podcast that you can find on Spotify. It is one of my favorite things of 2024, so I have to mention it. And this is called Caso 63. It is in Spanish. There's also the version in English for season 1, and it has Julianne Moore and Oscar Isaac. I don't think it's gonna be as good as the original version in Spanish, so if you can listen to it in Spanish, it would be a great experience. But honestly, the story is gonna be the same, so it is worth it still. This is very interesting. It is about time travel. It makes you question a lot of things. The narration is amazing. We have several characters. It is truly a great podcast. I'm not the biggest fan of podcasts either, but this one is a great one. I liked it. It was a recommendation and it was amazing. I actually recommended it to more people in person, but they didn't listen to it. I hope one of you listens to it because this is worth your time. And now let's start with the books. So I only have 3 favorite books because I also reread a lot. Some of the new books that I found I didn't quite like, but these ones were great. The first one is Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. This is one of the few, or maybe the first one, I'm not completely sure, sci-fi books that I enjoy. I tried with other sci-fi books and I ended up DNFing them or not liking them. This one was amazing. It is a short read. I listened to this on audiobook and I think it's a great option because it has different narrators, which I truly enjoyed for the different characters. The story is presented to you in some layers and you go and discover more, and it's amazing. I loved the name of the protagonist. Truly, I think it was a very peculiar and great name. And I think it keeps you engaged because there's always something new or someone new that you are discovering in the story. And of course, everything is related and everything makes sense at the end. The ending is good. I liked it, but I have to say that it's very safe. It doesn't take a lot of risks, so maybe some people would find it predictable. I didn't think it was predictable, but once I read it, I was like, well, yeah, that is the obvious end. But I think what is worth about this book is the message about humanity, what it makes you wonder and makes you think. You see humanity in very different phases, and of course it has sci-fi elements. It talks about pandemics, about living out of Earth, like in colonies. It is very interesting, so that's why I really liked it. I want to reread it at some point, not this year because I don't want to reread this year, and maybe have a physical copy because it was good. And the next one is Beasts of Extraordinary Circumstance, and I can describe this book as the most wholesome book that I read this year. I love the protagonist. I love all of the characters. The side characters were also great. They felt like real people. I realized I didn't tell you the name of the author. It is Ruth Emi Lang, and I'm honestly amazed by this book. It is a great story about found family, magic, and love. And it is great. I don't know what else to say. I really love this book. I read it in the summer and I used to go a lot on walks in the woods. It was amazing to go and walk and read this book. A great experience. Also, the other thing I like is that the narration is through the eyes of different people in the book, and you also jump through time several times. I think Everything about this book was amazing for me. I never expected to really love it. I saw it on BookTube years ago, and I never picked it up until I found it in the library. The best thing that could have happened. And also it has elements of magical realism, and they were pretty great for the story. A pretty great book, very wholesome, very cozy. If you are looking for something like that, you should pick this up. And the last one is Poison for Breakfast. That was one of the last books that I read in 2024, and it changed my perspective, my life, honestly. I think it's one of my favorite books now because of how impactful it was. It is written by Lemony Snicket, aka Daniel Handler, the writer of A Series of Unfortunate Events. And of course, I had to read this. Most of the books that I read, I don't have them, but this one is right here, and I truly love it. I also show it in my last book haul, and I'm going to film a proper review talking only about this book. It is a book about fiction, but also about philosophy. It is very interesting. It is very short. Actually, you can read it in 1 or 2 days, I think. If you love A Series of Unfortunate Events, I think this is a great choice. I actually want to read now Daniel Handler's biography after reading this, because I think he is a brilliant writer, and this is so well written. It has the same humor he puts in A Series of Unfortunate Events. And who would have thought that a story about someone being told that he had poison for breakfast would be this good? Like, honestly, that is the premise, and that is something amazing about this. And that's it. Those were all my favorites. This is the first year that I added books to that list. I hope you enjoyed, and I really hope that I have a better year for TV shows this year, 2025. Give this video a like if you enjoyed. Please share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content. I upload videos about movies, TV shows, and books. You can subscribe right here. You can watch more of my videos here. Thank you so much for watching this one, and I will see you in the next one.